and Gimba with Ben Cousins.
Hey, we will see you Sunday, May 25 for the HBF Run for a Reason. Of course, as we always ask, we're asking, what is your reason? And we are speaking to some of the incredible and special people who are running the race for very significant reasons in their lives. One of those people is Ali, and he's actually one of HBF's dedicated product strategy managers, as well as being here to reflect on this amazing story, but heartbreaking story at the same time. Your son Cooper and his diagnosis with a rare and very challenging condition. Thanks very much for joining us on the show this morning, Ali.
Thanks for having me.
Ali, tell us about your son Cooper. I believe he's 8 months old. How old was he when he was diagnosed with Norrie disease?
He was only 8 months old when we found out.
Oh.
8 weeks old. 8 weeks old. So we went to see the nurse, and we'd kind of been noticing he wasn't really tracking things with his eyes, and so it was an appointment with the nurse, and she kind of said, "Look, we think you should go into PCH," and things kind of rolled from there.
And so, what is Norrie disease? Because we understand it is very rare.
Yeah, that's right. There's probably about 500 cases worldwide. There's probably, statistically speaking, there should be between 10 and 20 cases here in Australia, but we've only managed to find one other person who has it.
Wow.
And what it means for little Cooper is that he was born blind, like everyone with Norrie disease, and that's kind of not just the legal definition of blindness. That's he'd be quite lucky to have light detection. Only 1 in 5 have light detection after the age of 1. And also it means that over the next kind of 20 years of his life, first 20 years of his life, he'll probably go on to lose his hearing as well.
Oh God, I'm sorry. This is really heartbreaking. That's
yeah.
You would have been looking forward to being a new dad, and the excitement that comes with that, and that's a really confronting situation for you and your partner.
It has been confronting, but at the same time, we're so lucky to have Cooper as a son. He's the happiest little boy, happiest little monkey, we call him, and he his laugh is my favourite thing about him. It brings light into our life every day, and while it is challenging, there's reason to be optimistic as well. Like the blindness that he suffers from is very complex, and there's unlikely to be any treatment for that anytime soon. But the hearing loss component to it, there is some research going on that shows a lot of promise, and hopefully over the next few years that can progress into kind of human trials. The only thing that's kind of stopping that at the moment from moving forward is funding. So things like Run for a Reason, raising the awareness and raising a bit of funds to help that research is massive, because like you said, it's so rare. The resources are quite thinly spread, so every dollar counts. It makes a life-changing difference.
Yeah.
So, Ali, what do we know about Norrie disease? Because I must admit, this is, and obviously it being so rare, this is the first time I've ever heard of it.
Yeah, so it's I don't want to get too technical here, but it's a X-linked genetic condition. So that means that it mostly affects little boys, or there are some cases where females have it as well, but mostly it's little boys. The research is quite thin on the ground, but it means that in most cases the way that the vascular system develops doesn't quite happen in a normal way.
Right.
So it's kind of the eyes don't get enough blood, the retina doesn't form, and then the same goes on to happen with the ears. There's a heap of different symptoms that come with it, but those two are probably the main ones.
How's your wife going? And the reason why I ask is because I've got a cousin of mine, and when they had their second child was born without any fingers.
Wow.
And a thumb, right? And one of the hardest things that we saw them go through was that she was looking for answers and was stuck blaming herself with the things that I did, and ultimately, through a lot of things and a lot of healing, she found, when it wasn't my fault, this has happened.
It never is.
It never is, but you put a lot of it on yourself. So how's your wife going?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, as a parent, like you have the tendency to probably blame yourself and feel guilty. And she did go through that same thing. We both probably did, but it's we just remind ourselves that we do the best we can for Cooper every day. And I guess we actually had genetic testing done when we were going through the process of having Cooper, but Norrie disease is just so rare that it didn't pick it up. So kind of we try and remind each other that we did the best we could with the information we had at the time.
And you still are. You're doing the best that you can every day, and you're doing it through things like this. You're going to do the run. You're raising awareness now. And I believe there isn't even a registered charity for Norrie disease in Australia, at least. So who will you be running for? Who are you fundraising with?
That's right. There's no Norrie disease charity in Australia, but the Lion's Eye Institute is who we're running for, and they've been fantastic with Cooper up to this point. Although he probably won't go on to develop any vision, they've been good for helping maintain the rest of his eye health. And there's one professor there, especially, who's shown particular interest in Cooper, and we're hoping that he'll start to do some research. We're going to speak to him in the next few weeks, and hopefully he'll agree to do some research here in Australia, because there isn't any research going on in Australia right now. There's some going on internationally, but I think he's at least shown some interest in doing that, so fingers crossed. Well,
often roles like that too, positions like that, those people want to make a difference. You know, they want to they're interested. They want to try and do the right thing. Do you know, are there opportunities for Cooper in the future in terms of things like cochlear implants or anything like that to try and keep his hearing over his life?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So definitely there is the chance to use cochlear implants. And we have looked into that a bit. And what's probably not understood about cochlear implants is that they're an absolute miracle. They really are. But it's not exactly like you can plug them in and you've got your normal hearing back. There is a challenge to kind of pick up that new technology. And music can be really difficult. Cooper loves music. Like sometimes if he's crying away, you'll play him a song, and he'll go from 100 to 0 in absolutely no time at all.
Wow.
He'll just settle straight down. Loves the Beatles especially.
Oh, really? Great taste.
Yeah. For some reason, he's got like an especially. He loves like 70s and 60s rock bands, which I don't know where that's come from.
Well, from your accent, I'm going to say somewhere in there it's genetic.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. But the point I was making, sorry, I digressed a bit, is that they're really challenging. Cochlear implants are really challenging when it comes to music.
Right.
I think you get about 22 frequencies that it can kind of detect and process for you, which is really good for speaking. You can kind of, my understanding is you can understand what people are saying to you, but music is a challenge from what I understand. You can actually go to YouTube and you can find there's researchers at a university in the US who've kind of tried to mimic what it's like to listen to music with cochlear implants, and it is challenging.
One other thing, I mean, you being a part of HBF, right? Can you talk to us about how special a time it is being a part of the HBF Run for a reason, but being right there at the core of where it's all happening? Because the stories and all of that sort of stuff, the outpouring of support from the community, to be at the coalface of it must be very special.
Yeah, it is special. They've been absolutely fantastic at supporting me through this whole process and allowing me time to kind of be there for my family when they needed me. And now they're also going above and beyond, both as an employer, like you pointed out, and a health fund to make sure we get what we need in terms of healthcare, and also to use opportunities like this to raise awareness and funds for Norrie disease. Like it's we're blessed, to be honest. A very lucky position to be in.
Sunday, May 25. You know, we're asking you, what's your reason? And to be there and to run on the day or walk or however you'd like to be a part of it. And we're going to be there as well. We're looking forward to it. The HBF Run for a reason, of course. But Ali, thank you very much for coming in and sharing your family story. And we wish you all the very best. And, that things go incredibly well as they possibly can for Cooper as he grows up.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Kimber.
Cooper is a great reason to run.
He's the best.